Hello once again, and we welcome you to a brand new edition of Inside Earlham Lacrosse. Yeah, a lot of you don't know that lacrosse is coming up next season. We're going to talk with Coach Grace coming up in just a couple of moments, get his thoughts about how the recruiting process is going and what to expect. We're, I guess, less than a year away, right, Coach?
Less than a year away, yes.
Less than a year away. We'll do that coming up next right here on Inside Earlham Lacrosse, right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
The Drewley Performance Gymnasium, dedicated on February 6 of 2016, is home to Schuckman Court and the Earlham men's basketball, women's basketball, and volleyball teams. Built to seat 1,800 fans, the facility features a full-length basketball court with locker rooms for home and visiting teams. Schuckman Court is painted with volleyball lines and can also support 2 basketball courts for intramural play. An observation room above allows for video streaming and media members to view the game from above. 2 storage areas are located in either corner of the facility, with a concession stand located just outside the main entrance.
Back once again on Inside Earlham Lacrosse. The season for lacrosse will get underway next year, and head coach Jason Grace kind enough to be with us. Yep. You know, we've talked off camera a lot about getting things started for lacrosse, and it's an exciting time for you, and I want to talk a little bit about your background and how you managed to get here to Earlham, and then we'll talk about recruiting and all the other things that are going on. But your background first.
So my background, I'm originally from Aberdeen, Maryland, so one of the hotbeds. It's debatable where it is depending on who you speak with. Some people claim Long Island, some people claim Baltimore, so obviously I'm in the Baltimore realm with that one. So I went to Aberdeen High School and played. I've had a stick in my hand since I was 4 or 5 years old, and so most of my life. So fell in love with the sport. It was one of those ones that I tried other things. I did football, I did baseball, I did swimming as well, and I just really gravitated to the lacrosse side. So I went to community college, Hartford Community College, back in Bel Air, Maryland. So nice little school there, and then I went to York College and was a part of that startup program as well, which looking back at that school now, seeing that they're a top 10 team in the nation, is as an alum is very good to see.
Sure.
So coming from that is something that interests me, and then just coaching overall. So how I got into coaching, my last year at York, I was out of eligibility, and somebody said that a team was looking for help, and I was like, all right, well, let's give it a whirl. And that's all she wrote. So since then, I coached at different high schools in Pennsylvania, Maryland. I went to Oregon State for a short stint, and then Hanover College, who's going to be in our conference, the Ohio River Lacrosse Conference, and then went back home and coached at Anne Arundel Community College as the head coach there for the last 2 years, and now I'm here.
Here you are.
Here I am. So this is my new thing.
Well, as you mentioned, well, I guess in many respects, the second time that you've gone through a startup program, that previous experience really has to be a big help for you.
It is, and actually I helped with a startup in a high school as well.
Okay.
But they, again, with high schools, it's a little bit easier because they did have a rec program and a feeder program into that. But this is going to be my first time ever starting something from scratch. So as a player, seeing the hardships that I went through, it's going to be the same that the guys were going to face this year, or next year when we get started. And I'll be able to help relate with that a little bit. And then being part of Hanover's class, their 3rd and 4th year, again, not at the very start, but again, seeing some of the later hardships that they might have had and going from there. So I think it's helped me be able to know what I'm getting myself into for the first 2-3 years, and then for 4 and 5, or 3 and 4 as well.
You bet.
So a lot of experience with the startups, and it's pretty exciting because again, you get to build something from scratch. It's your own thing. It's your own entity, and you get to put the face and make that foundation. So it's exciting for that.
Do you ever feel like maybe time is really short because now you're less than a year, and the recruiting, which we'll get into here in a couple of moments, and also the interest in the Midwest in lacrosse? Any anxiety yet, or you still feel okay?
No anxiety yet. Just because getting hired in July, I got hired at the end of the recruiting season for those events. So I got to go out to a couple of those, but myself and Coach Clemens have been sitting there watching, going to these different websites like NCSA and field level and things like that, and just watching video with kids. So.
Sure.
last weekend, or the past 2 weekends, it was the startup of the fall, and with those events happening. So now it's exciting just because now I get to see these young men live, and I already have communication with a lot of them, so now it's putting a face with the name and getting out there. So right now, no, it's more excitement because for the next 2 months until December, Coach Clemens and I are out every weekend at a different event, and really attempting to get the Earlham name out there.
All right, lacrosse in the Midwest. I don't know, from at least my experience, I've seen it, and there are a few high schools in the state of Indiana and such that do play lacrosse, correct?
Correct.
But it's not a huge sport right now.
It's not right now. So you have your hot spots. You have Cincinnati, who's obviously like an hour and 15 from here. You have Indianapolis, about an hour, Louisville, Lexington, Chicago, Cleveland, starting to get that. So you're getting these hot spots but not everybody's sanctioned through their high school, so a lot of it is still club. But there is a lot going on, and it's growing, and I think the reason that the sport's growing is because of the success that Notre Dame's lacrosse team has had, Ohio State, along with Marquette, who was just finished their fourth season and made it pretty deep into the NCAA. So I think that's really helping with getting kids out there, getting the interest, and making it one of those ones where there's a ton of players out there. You just need to find them now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, talk about what your process is to find them. You mentioned websites and such, and you're putting out a lot of feelers. And since you have that kind of those hot spots in the Midwest and your contacts back in the East, I'm not saying it's easy, but does it help your process a little bit more?
It definitely helps. Working at the community college the last 2 years has been very helpful, building relationships with those head coaches and getting to know them over the course of the 2 years playing against them, and working with them, helping with recruiting plans, or not recruiting plans so much, but scouting and things of that nature. Because again, every coach talks to other coaches and figures out what they saw that game, or sharing game film. So I think that's very helpful. I've had a lot of coaches very welcoming to me, letting me come into their practice over the fall, and I think that's going to help. And then knowing people in all the different areas as well. So it does help. It's a lot of like when you're looking for a job, it's who you know type of deal. And I have connections in the Chicago area, Indianapolis area. Still working on the Cincinnati area, but a couple buddies up in Cleveland as well. So and they're willing to help out. And again, they're not going to just send us names, but they are realistic and say these are the guys you have a shot with, which is very helpful, because again, you're not wasting that time with kids that are at a higher caliber or what have you, or maybe don't have the grades to get into Earlham, which let's be honest, it's a tough academic school, as well as trying to get these sports off the ground. So it's a good mix I think to come here if you have the education and everything like that, and then get to play the sport that you love. So it's going to be a good time.
I would imagine as a player, I would be, again, very interested in getting in on the ground floor, and some may not, but I think it'd be kind of fun to do that, to start from scratch, knowing that you were the beginning of something brand new.
It is, and that's kind of one of our selling points, is now that you're the foundation, you get to be a founding father of the team. And again, some guys want to go to another school that's been established for a little bit, maybe go to whoever out there that's already been around, had their ups and downs, and are established. And a lot of kids, though, that we are talking to think that it's an exciting situation. So talking to a lot of them is like, are you talking to any other startups? And that's one of the questions we like to ask. And a lot of kids are like, no, you're pretty much the only one, which is great, just because, again, it shows their interest. And it's one of those things, you have the possibility to be a 4-year starter or possibly a 4-year captain. Where else can you do that? And you know that you're the one that's going to build that culture for the team. So I think a lot of kids are excited to hear and learn more about that. I think a lot of the kids don't want to go to college and be the guy that has to wait on the bench. They want to contribute right away, and that's everybody's dream, and it's every freshman coming in, wherever they go to school, they want to contribute right away. So I think it's a little bit nicer and a little bit more appealing, saying, hey, these are the opportunities that you have here. Not only a top-notch education, but you also can contribute and be part of something great.
You bet. Coach, I want to ask you, just from that standpoint, with the interest, you mentioned Notre Dame, and I follow, you're a Notre Dame fan, and I follow them. At least I cover them. My son is up there as well, and he covers the lacrosse team and their success and such. From your aspect then, what about the public's knowledge of lacrosse and getting this area interested? You and I'm sure your assistant coach and everybody else involved with the community is going to have to find a way to get that interest to have people come out and watch.
Right. I think the interest of it is, even if you don't know what's going on, there's a lot going on, and it's an exciting game to watch.
Yeah.
For people that have never seen it before, I describe it as hockey in the air. I think that's the best way to describe it. So I think once somebody sees it, they're already pulled in because they want to know what's going on. And with Notre Dame's success, with them being on TV, I think they pull a lot of people in. One thing that they do really well is during their fall, they have these little scrimmages, inter-squad scrimmages, and I went to one 2 weeks ago, and there was a lot of people in the stands for that before the football game. So I'm not sure how many of them are lacrosse fans or just people walking by and see the stadium open and go watch something that they've never seen before. But every time I've talked to somebody about that, either they wanted to play growing up or they've heard about it and they want to learn more about it. So I think it's one of those exciting sports that a lot of people know the name, but they don't really know what's happening on the field. So that's what we're going to try to do, is attempt to get out into the community around here in Richmond and attempt to teach part of the game and some of the basic fundamentals and things of that nature. So when people come in from around the area and watch a game, they kind of get what's going on.
Right.
They're not just in the dark trying to figure it out. So I think that's going to be an easy thing, is to get people to come and watch in that sense. I'm not saying that we're going to have thousands of people come, but it's one of those ones, I think, with kids on campus that really don't know what's going on, and people in the community, if they hear there's a game and they have nothing to do, I think they'll come out and watch and check it out and really get a good entertainment value out of it as well.
I agree.
So.
We're going to have Coach back on very soon, because I want to talk about the game itself, and again to learn about the game, because I've got a lot to learn myself before next year, and this could be interesting calling lacrosse next season, but I'm interested in sitting down with you and talking about the game, because the men's game, as you mentioned to me before, is a whole lot different than the women's game.
It's completely different. So about the only things that are the same are the goalies wear the same chest protector, they both wear a helmet, and we use a 6x6 goal, and everything else is different. The rules are different. What each team would wear is going to be different. Sizes of the field and things of that nature. There are some rules that cross over that are the same, but we have a face-off, and the women's game has a draw. So the face-off is on the ground, and the draw is more in the air. So that's going to be one thing I think that throws a lot of people off. If they learn the one, they try to incorporate it in the other one. It's like soccer and football put together. You really can't combine the both. So. But no, it's definitely going to be fun, and love talking to sports. So look forward to doing that too.
All right.
So.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, we'll keep you updated. Check out the Earlham website, goearlham.com. There'll be, I'm sure, between now and next season, tons of information about the lacrosse program. If you're interested in playing lacrosse, you can get a hold of the head coach and talk to him about what it takes to come to Earlham College.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to talk to anybody and get everybody on the field that wants to play and ready to learn and teach the game. So.
I am as well. Coach, good to see you. Thank you.
Good seeing you too.
Appreciate
Thank you
it very much. And of course, we'll keep you updated on how the recruiting process and everything else goes with the lacrosse program. And again, check out the website. Very informational, goearlham.com. And we'll see you again next time right here on Inside Earlham Lacrosse, right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.